When I was 10 years old, I didn't know a thing about sex. Back in those days, we didn't have TV or the internet or even magazines filled with scantily clad girls. I was probably one of the most naive kids you ever saw. It must be difficult in this day and age to find anyone quite that dumb, but back then it was the norm. Nobody seemed to worry about this sex thing. You must understand that I was completely clueless from that young age. 4 boys in our family, a father, my father's brother, and good old mom. And the only lesson I ever received from my father concerning sex was keep it in your pants. But when I reached that ripe old age of just slightly better than 10, which by the way was 1939, Father decided that with 4 boys he had to get them out of the big city of Bentley, which had perhaps 400 people, because there was a pool hall and a beer parlor. No place to raise a family of 4 boys. Moving into a brand new farmhouse was a great adventure, and the chance to be farmers was greeted with enthusiasm. Lucky for me, because over the next several years my sexual knowledge grew by leaps and bounds. You see, everything I ever learned about sex I discovered on the farm. We quickly added livestock to our family and learned all the intricacies of milking cows and riding horses and feeding pigs and chickens and turkeys. I must admit that the turkeys and chickens didn't impress me much as sex performers, but those cows and pigs and horses sure knew what it was all about. Man, some of those displays were a joy to behold. Horses were quick, fast, and furious. The large stallion, who usually weighed close to a ton, was a typical example of feral ferocity, who knew what his job was and performed it well. A quick slam, bam, and thank you, ma'am, and the union was completed. No need for kissing or snuggling afterward. Bulls were somewhat more subdued and seemed to be looking forward to the next affair before the first was finished. They possessed amazing reloading qualities and were almost immediately ready to go again, should the situation arise. You just couldn't help but be impressed with pigs. They absolutely love sex. A union could last up to 2 hours with both parties chomping their jowls and actually smiling. It did my young heart a world of good to witness an act that almost showed real animal love. But in spite of all I had seen, it never dawned on me at this stage of my life that people did things like that. I am convinced that although I learned quite a bit about sexuality in animals while on the farm, it really didn't enhance my own dexterity as a married man. When I look back, I find it rather amazing that my wonderful wife is still with me after more than 57 years. We somehow managed to have 3 beautiful children who gave us 6 wonderful grandchildren, which to date have presented us with 4 adorable great-grandchildren. I certainly didn't have the manhood of the stallion, nor the lasting power of the boar, or the reloading qualities of the bull, but I can most certainly state that I had a lot more fun than the 3 of them put together. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way.